Guys, Rich Trooper Bash. I'm out here with my my rebuilt ARRMA Typhon 6S, my Truckified Typhon. You guys have been watching my channel for a while, probably recognize this body. This is my orange darling, and she's super beat up. But I'm going to go ahead and try and get a little bit more life out of her. You'll see I'm sporting my M2C Racing sticker on one side, and then I got my Voltage Hobbies on the other. So huge hats off to Mitch Looper with M2C Racing. This will be my first run on this brand new M2C Goliath Series chassis. You guys probably realize the Outcast chassis also works for the Typhon and the Senton. They're essentially the same chassis. If you're running one of these, you don't need a tower-to-tower brace. This 4mm 7075 aircraft grade aluminum is just so far superior from the stock 3mm stamped aluminum. I've got a new Voltage front chassis support. And I already had the rear one. I've got my GKA wing stop, and then I've got my Voltage tower in the rear, and I decided to swap out to a Senton front tower just because my previous body mount system that I had designed myself and bolted up to the tower, it was just putting too much strain on these standoff bolts. So anyway, I'm going to try this out. My new electronics in here. This is a brand new Hobbywing. Basically, this is a Max8 combo. It's a 2200 kV, and then I've paired it with a Hexfly Hex 8 ESC, which is essentially identical to the Max8, just minus the cap pack on the lead. This is easily the toughest rig I own. So we'll just see how it does with these buggy wheels on, and I'm just out here to have a good time. Oh, it nosed in right there. Oh! Well, you guys will see that's a pretty big gap there between my ramp and this this big jump here. So we'll just hit it a couple times, and I just got to get the good angle on it and see if I can clear that. I think my wing mount just busted, guys. All right, I had to duck and clear that one, guys. Guys, that's going to be it. Definitely another super fun bash with my favorite RC of all time. Again, this is the Truckified Typhon 6S. The body actually held up my little rig here with the bolts and a little piece of yard edging. I just trimmed a little piece in there on both sides. So yeah, it's ugly, but it held in place. So other than my wing mount, I did actually end up having to replace one of my rod ends. These are the stock ones. I'm probably going to swap these out for the Technos, but I got to say, man, this rig is just a beast. It's an absolute animal with this 2200 system in it. The buggy tires did great. A little harsh on some of the landings. A lot of after bounce, but you just can't beat them for raw speed. Chassis still straight as an arrow. So huge shout out to M2C Racing. No major breakages. This thing is just an absolute tank. So all right, guys, till next time. Late. Real quickly on the bench here. Mitch with M2C Racing has he's entertaining the idea of possibly offering some anodized Goliath Series 7075 chassis. So this one here is for the V3 V4 Italian. So you know, you guys can leave a comment if you guys think that a particular color would be interesting for you. The other thing is he's decided to possibly start offering some chassis covers. These are both for the Creighton, and I think he'd be making these for the Outcast as well, probably the Italian. But the bigger thing too is this is definitely early in the testing process, but Mitch has been designing his own zero rebound shock cap. It's a bladderless, highly machined cap here. It has a bleeder screw, and he comes with his own custom piston. This is a Delrin piston, 3mm thick, and it's pretty trick. He designed this with a little O-ring that goes around. And effectively, the way he put tiny notches in this so that during compression, essentially there's a little bit of pressure put on this O-ring to help control the dampening. So in any case, the end goal of this is basically this is definitely really smooth feeling. It's kind of a little harder to do this with one hand, but I definitely noticed using the same weight oil as what comes stock in the Creighton. This is really smooth stroke both up and down, and a much more controlled rebound. So in any case, hopefully this will improve the handling, and my biggest hope is that coming down off of bigger jumps, you won't see those real violent after bounces. So we'll see how this goes. Again, we're early in the testing process, so just want to make you guys aware. And again, if you have any comments about this stuff, definitely or suggestions, just leave them. One last thing, guys. I get a lot of questions about this, and anyway, I just want to make a quick comment, a couple build tips. Anytime you do a chassis swap, make sure you do not fully tighten your central hardware, whether it's your rear brace or front brace, your top plate connection, etc. Make sure that you just have all the hardware loosely connected before you cinch everything down. The other biggie is make sure to don't forget to reset your droop. Again, you've got your droop screws here in the back. You got the same in the front. And again, essentially the function of the droop is to adjust your ride height. But the biggest thing is you want to make sure that your droop screw is actually making contact with the chassis, okay? A lot of you guys already know this. This is just a reminder and kind of a tip for guys newer into the hobby. But when I set mine, essentially if you don't have contact, what you're doing is you're putting all that strain and load on your rod ends and your shock pistons. So when I set mine, what I do is I have my truck up, and I should end up having to put upward pressure on my shock to get my set pin in. In any case, there's probably a couple different techniques to do that, but I just want to share that with you. All right, guys, until next time. Late.